negative. Yeah, I agree. Ladder is not great. All right. White-blue artifacts. This deck's got a bunch of one-drop artifact creatures and then Steel Overseer along with all that glitters to pump something up. We got some Mystic Forge and some Owls at the top end. We're basically a base white deck game one, and we've got some counter spells out of the sideboard. Field is still legal today, even though it's been banned. Takes them 4 days or whatever to update Magic Arena, apparently. Can't have an update the same day. That would make too much sense. So I'm going to go ahead and dive on in here and see how this goes. I don't know that I have a great solution to fixing the ladder, but I do know the current system is bad because it discourages me from playing. I think in an ideal world, their system should never discourage me from playing. If I wake up and go, I want to, I mean, unranked though, the deck quality is worse. The deck quality is worse in these constructed events too, but like it's better than the unranked queues. There's also people also concede randomly more often in the unranked queue when they get behind or they get bored because they're not playing for anything meaningful. So there are a significant number of reasons why playing on the unranked is not a good experience and makes for poor content. I think I mulligan this. 5 lands is a lot. So it's not exciting, but probably fine. Well, bottom of God's Willing since I want to play my 4 drops. Did the overlay not automatically start working? The preview appears to be working. Is it not loaded on Twitch's end? You might need to refresh for the overlay if you were already watching during the MTGO segment. Alright, it's a good draw. Get to start pumping up the jam right away. Pump up, the bump up, the wump up, the jam. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. People sitting on their rank has been a problem in ranked systems. With end of season reward, League has the same problem. Sure, but saying like someone else's system also sucks, so our system should sit here and suck isn't a good solution. We 0-3'd with 3 different decks in Modern today, and I was actually going to play more Modern, like I wasn't really annoyed, but like both the decks that were like next in the queue that I was like ready to play, my person that provides me cards, MTGO traders, they were out of stock on too many things. So getting cards on MTGO can often be frustrating and difficult. The problem with putting Decay on the leagues that people play is if you put a Decay on it, it puts more value on matches you play later in the season, which is also not ideal. It's definitely not an easy problem to solve. Yep. We're gonna go ahead and Glass Casket this. I was listening to your rant about Pioneer on YouTube yesterday, and I really want to say that I appreciate your passion for the game and willing to call Watsy out for making subpar decisions. Thanks for being here, Combat Muffin. Yeah, creatures that don't have enter the battlefield effects tend to not be good. Enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards. That's actually pretty good here, right? Because this will allow us to block, because it's an artifact creature. And, Get another big beefcake here. For Mythgard codes, we message you on Discord. Yeah, Discord or Twitch, whichever is easier for you. Yikes. All right, I mean, I guess that's not too terrible. Because this is going to pump up to trade with this. I assume they're about to attack here. So I can do this, and I think I'm just doing this as a 5/5. And then the problem here is they're going to be able to just sit here and hammer us with this activation every turn, which puts us pretty far behind. I don't really have removal for this dragon. Oh, the serpent does have reach. That's true. Okay, I guess I actually forgot that this has reach. So I think I made a mistake and I should have traded this last turn. Oh, huh. Deal. In. I guess I could have Collision Colossus. I couldn't get cards for the decks we wanted to play on Magic Online, and TGO Traders was out of stock on too many things. So rather than sit there and try and piece it together through bots and like lose most of my viewers, I decided to just play Arena. And that's part of the reason why I mostly do 1 or 2 decks a day, because like if I only do 2 decks a day, I can get cards for both decks the night before and like sort out any issues I have off stream, which is ideal. Yeah, honestly, I would kind of prefer something similar to the Magic Online setup where like you earn points for like performing well, and then you eventually earn enough points to enter into the qualified thing, how their mock system works. That's pretty sweet. Just get to scry that to the bottom. Yeah, Puppet lets us scry, which is nice. That's unfortunate, because now I have to trade my Steel Overseer. Do I have to trade my Steel Overseer? They're attacking with both? Huh? I think I'm actually just going to go to 3 here. Yeah, we can. That's true. We can eat Brute to gain a bunch of life. This can go on any creature, right? Yep. Now that's a real boy. I'm a real boy. There's probably a sick Mystic Forge deck in Pioneer. So we're dead to Collision Colossus here because of how Death Touch Trample work. We couldn't get cards to play more Modern Boneless. My sponsor was out of stock on too many things. I think I'm just passing here. What if I do this and just kill them? Can I 2-turn clock them here? We can like 2-turn clock them, right? Yeah, let's do that. Let's just 2-turn clock them. You'll never catch me! I'm the gingerbread man! Hoo-hoo! Thunk. He's ready to go, chat. Don't dragon me. Don't dragon me. Don't dragon me. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what Shambling Suit does. Was Embercleave lethal there? I guess I should have double blocked if I was worried about Embercleave. First was Baby Tef songs. Now I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna have some creepy dream about you being the gingerbread man. Woohoo! Couple of Conclave Tribunal seems good here. Is Glass Casket actually all that good? I feel like it's probably not. God's Willing's maybe a little bit medium too. Can like maybe protect my things in combat. I probably have a hard time keeping this alive with how aggressive they are. Maybe I just like keep a God's Willing over that. Maybe this Cavalier of Dawn is fine just because like it's a big beefy body. Let's try this. Just bring in the extra burden, a couple of tribunals. Yeah, it does tag. Tagging Spellbreaker is valuable. I agree with that. Sure. Yep. Is Disenchant good enough for Cleave? I don't think so. Completely agree, Pixie Evil. Play him a finger puppet. They obviously have shock up here. Maybe I'm supposed to play Gingerbrute just to encourage them to burn the shock. Since I have Steel Overseer in hand. Yeah, this is probably a mistake. If I think they have shock and it looks like they do, I think I'm supposed to play the Gingerbrute to get the shock out. Someone might explain to me how the interaction between protection and trample works. So you have to assign what would be lethal damage. So in the case of protection, you have to assign damage equal to the creature's toughness. They could have both, yeah. And that's like, I think playing around two things like that is like not very profitable. Put him in the box. Wow, that's rude. Huh? Caca! Caca! Mystic Forge. Do 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 do. Mystic Forge. Is it normal to have to refresh my browser after being timed out to talk again? I have no idea. I don't think so. I don't believe that should be the case. I'm looking forward to sacrificing my party bus to put a Deep Fiend into play. Maybe. I mean, bus doesn't really work well with Deep Fiend, right? A little worried about this Pioneer thing. Should I try and sell my excess modern staples? But cards I'm not playing right now. I mean, if you don't intend to play with the Magic cards, selling them is always a reasonable idea. Twitch is completely stable, release-ready software, chat. Because a lot of people don't understand the context with the data that they're looking at, Frost Otter. They don't understand that this archetype is actually very bad against the food decks. They just like, see a deck that looks sweet, so they play the deck that looks sweet. Need to draw Conclave Tribunal or we're dead here. Oh, I could have shocked that I didn't play this, right? I mean, yeah, they're definitely good enough without trackers. You can play Fabled Passage with Tireless Tracker still, so that's fine. I would expect this new non-rotating format to be more of a threat to Legacy than Modern, just because most people are priced out of Legacy. I would expect this format to stunt the further growth of Modern, but I also think Modern's big enough that it doesn't really need to grow more. Yeah, I think so, Snugglebear. I would not be surprised to see this new format replace Legacy in the triple constructed format team events. Getting a Legacy player is often difficult. One Conclave Tribunal, please. Hey, Anurag. Good to have you here. Ooh, that's an Impulse 4-1, right? So we can put a Real Boy into play. Then we can Owl past this top card of our deck. Oh, we can Scry past this top card of our deck, which is great. Okay, we get to Owl Impulse. We did get the channel currency added on Friday, which is excellent. All right, there's Conclave Tribunal. If the rest of their hand is medium, we have a real shot here. Do you have a spot for Mythgard decks? The site of Google, I've not really done well. Yeah, all of my YouTube videos have deck lists in the video descriptions. Yeah, the all modern day ended up getting cut short by the fact that I couldn't get access to cards. So we played 4 different decks, and I tried to find cards for a 5th and 6th deck, and then my person that gives me cards was out of stock on cards for both of the other decks I wanted to play. Diba, that's all, folks. Isn't the secondary market is truly wonderful. Truly wonderful. I'm gonna board this in as another way to destroy their stuff, I think. Yeah, there's been a lot of interest in Mythgard. I actually, I'm close to sending out. I've sent out close to 600 codes, and almost, I think there were like 200 people that have responded to my last tweet that Christy's gonna send codes out to today. There are 199 responses to my Mythgard code tweet from last night that Christy said she's gonna send out this afternoon. They're probably getting their money's worth out of my sponsored segments. The game's really good. I'm glad to be promoting it. The game is great. We're gonna be doing it at least 2 days a week. Yeah, each code can only be redeemed once. So all of the codes start with treat, and you can only redeem 1 treat code per account. Yes, I have unlimited treat codes for the next 2 days. If you were thinking about poking at the game, doing so in the next 2 days would be great, because I can give you some free stuff. Do we believe? I believe. Our little puppet's gonna get there, chat. Our puppet's got a scry one, and a prayer. We ain't scared. There's no fear in this dojo. There's no fear here. The gameplay The gameplay it feels familiar, yet it's very unique still. Shillings work through multi-twitch. Excellent. The no fear play would have been to play Gingerbrute, maybe. A little bit of fear. Okay, fair. No, all the codes expire on the 24th that I have. The game plays on mobile though, so if you're away and you have an Android device, you can do it that way. You can also, if you have access to a desktop computer, you can play Mythgard in any web browser without installing anything. Because that's what quality software looks like. Hey, morning, Paulo. There's not Emry in this deck. As always, you can access the deck list by typing !deck in chat. I think the widget might still be broken. Yep, the widget being broken is a Twitch issue. It's not an issue with the person who makes the widget. Which is a little frustrating. Are you insinuating that MTGA is not a quality program? I don't insinuate. MTGA is not a quality program. Until it gets some real work done to it, it's pretty mediocre. Maybe I should wait till I can play this as a 3-3. It's a severely underfunded program. Yeah, I should have waited to play that till it was a 3-3 so I could avoid Shocks and Bone Crusher Giants. Yeah, I wasn't planning to do Standard today, Mail Branch, so I had this deck loaded up from yesterday still, and then the other two are ones that I've already vetted. I don't know if Riot gives haste forever. I don't have an answer to that. I don't know what the game rules are there. I don't know the exact Oracle text on Riot. Yeah, Arena, I agree with that sentiment completely. Arena has an incredible amount of potential, and so far it feels like it's being squandered by mismanagement. When Arena's functional, it makes digital Magic good in a way I never thought it could be good. But between them telling us we can't play the formats we want to play when we want to play them, and the constant memory leaks and lag, it's just like has a lot of very glaring holes in it. All right, we're gonna make a better decision with this one and wait till we have 3 lands. I wish Wizards had said Historic would eventually become Pioneer. Yeah, maybe. Honestly, I would settle for, hey folks, you can play Historic whenever you want. There's a best of 3 ranked queue. We're going to stick to what we said and give you 10 to 20 new cards every quarter. I think what they originally announced would have been fine. They just aren't supporting it at all. Whereas, like, Pioneer is like everybody's new favorite nephew, right? Like, it's just like infinite support for it. Yeah, I mean, like, that's definitely a huge boon to small indie projects like Mythgard, right? They can just, like, spend the time to do the work. Like, they have limits in how many resources they have available because they're a smaller project, but, like, what resources they have, they get to actually do the important things for sure. Until they get tired of it. I mean, that's not really how that works. Like, looking at Modern, like, your statement there is, like, not based in reality, essentially. Feels like we're dead here. Magic's incredibly low variance game, etc., etc. Better player always wins. Do we know they're not going to make good on their promise? They could already make good on their promise. The fact that they could flip a switch and allow it in the best of 1 queue, there's no reason why they can't flip a switch and also allow it in the best of 3 queue. Other than they don't want to. Well, the game we got to play Magic was really good in that set. Unfortunately, you frequently don't get to play Magic the way Magic works as a game. Flockle redeemed bumping a deck by 1 point. Oh, I get to see what this looks like now. There's no message with that. Hopefully there's a message and there's like a little dashboard thing. Review, reward, requests. There's supposed to be a message in with it. Green, blue, self-mill, got it. Did it give you an option to type a message when you redeemed it? Or did it not? I feel like WotC's treating Alina players like they're a subset of not important Magic players with their actions. They don't give their software proper support it deserves, or they basically flipped us the bird when it comes to historic / just ignorance. I agree. I feel like they know they can take advantage of us and they're doing so. I don't know what's going on with Magic right now, but I guess I'm here for it. Thanks for the 10 months, Miller. And honestly, it's one of those things where, like, for me personally, it's like a little worrisome, right? Because, like, my job is kind of tied to WotC at this point. So, like, if they keep messing up, that potentially means I don't have a job at some point, which is worrisome. But nothing I can really do about that, so I can't really worry about it too much. How do you get a Mythgard code? You drop me a direct message on Twitch, or you respond to my tweet. And my wife's going to send out responses to the tweet later this afternoon. Flash. Yep. I'm gonna reject either of those decks, Track Egg. I'm done taking bad modern decks. Playing bad modern decks sucks. The format is not nice towards playing decks that aren't good. I'm done playing bad decks. We 0-9'd with 3 different bad decks today, and it was pretty awful. Yeah, happy to take your bad Pioneer decks, so we don't really know what's good and what's bad. Pretty off playing terrible modern decks. No, Christy actually hasn't sent out responses yet, and the Mythgard people told me they will continue to send me as many treat codes as I need until Thursday. So if there's like 250 responses, feel free. Christy's gonna take a little bit to go through them, but she said she would. Emry, Pioneer, Emry JC? Yeah, definitely. 10 out of 10. I'm gonna play this for 4, so I can play all that glitters afterwards if they counter it. I guess it doesn't make sense to play all that glitters, because I'm going to need to chump block here next turn. Just listen to your rant from yesterday because I was unable to watch it live. The problem with WotC's decision making is it has no consistency. Your rant is accurate and sounds very much like what competitive paper players were saying a couple of months ago after Arena's launched, wiping out the PT without a clear explanation of what's replacing it. I mean, I don't know that that's completely fair. I don't think that that's a completely accurate comparison. I agree that, like, there's a little bit of disjointedness, but I also think that, what's the word that I'm searching for? I also think that, like, the issues with the announcements from yesterday are in large part due to the fact that, like, they never gave us support that they promised. I guess we start here. I guess I do this. I'm gonna be able to start pumping out a castle token every turn to chump block this, assuming they don't have anything else. But like, if they have another play here, we're gonna be in a little bit of trouble, I think. I mean, we can kind of know what Wizards is doing. Like, if you read the reviews of, like, working at Wizards of the Coast on Glassdoor reviews, like, most of them cite massive communication issues. Yeah, I agree, Hunter. It feels like Wizards is telling people if you don't want to play Standard, you don't want to play Standard and you don't want to play MTGO, you shouldn't play Magic. I'd also like to point out that, as expected, Lame Duck Standard has 50% more viewers already than Modern did. Yeah, you're not alone. Modern kind of sucks, and Moto definitely sucks. Okay, don't get me wrong. I knew that was gonna happen. There's plenty of people. Most people prefer my viewer count on Arena is always higher than my viewer count on Moto. If you're on iOS, you can't redeem Mythgard codes. iOS doesn't allow it. You need to be on Android, a desktop, or a web browser. Why not attack with the Serpent? Because I don't want to trade my 3/3 for their 3/2, because this has reach and is keeping this back. Yeah, one of the many reasons why Magic Online is awful is because it's inaccessible for people watching at home. Oh, it's multicolored. As always, people that are telling me I'm wrong without telling me why I'm wrong, you're gonna get a 10-minute break. Enjoy your time out. The reason why I didn't make the good play, chat, is because I missed it. That's the answer. The answer to your question. So don't just say, why don't you do that? Take 30 seconds and explain why it should be done. Be helpful. Don't be an obnoxious turd. You can direct message me on Twitch for a Mythgard code, or you can message me on Discord. I'm going to get greedy here and try and keep my Gideon. I could just trade this here, but I'm going to try and hold on to it, I think. Just checked WotC's Glassdoor review. The company seems a bit disorganized overall. Poor communication for recruiter and hiring manager. One of the hiring managers showing up in an interview. Yeah, there's a lot to read on there. That is how that works, Scooter. Have your sword back. I didn't attack with my Serpent this time because they could have a 4/4. Now they get to attack my Gideon, though, which kind of sucks. Are we dead? I feel pretty dead. I guess I do this and I God's willing to save the serpent. The problem is, chat, like, this exiles one of their things, but I'm, like, still losing to the other one, right? So, like, I'm not really making inroads here. Like, I can't beat either of these cards. Yeah, Shame Spiral. I get that there's a new format, but this is still the same old thing. You can find my schedule on my website that includes what formats I'm playing when. And you can find what decks we're going to be playing in those formats in the deck queue. So, new schedule, same well-organized content. I've been sub for 15 months and watching for 3 years. Never donated for a deck until Pioneer. Excited to see you play Rally/Return. Sounds good, Ostin. That's probably going to be a combo deck that'll be great. Be looking at deck submissions this evening, most likely. Woof. This matchup's probably not too terrible for us. I feel like we generate double spell turns pretty early. I think I'm going to grab this extra Arcanist Owl and just trim these Mystic Forges. This card is probably not something I'm super interested in. Conclave Tribunal exiles their bigger creatures, which feels good, I think. This probably has a hard time getting into play a lot of the time. Let's give this... Oh, that's 58 cards, huh? Do I want some Mystic Forges? I don't think so. Let's try this. Sure. Got Gingerbread Man and some other goodies here. Sounds good, Flock. It should have offered you a prompt. I'm glad to know it's there. Just making sure I had it set up right on my end. The reason I invested money into Arena as I have was to support a new way to play Magic. I was never drawn to Moto because the program was not user-friendly or appealing. I feel like this announcement has made me not want to put any more money in until they start supporting. Yeah, I agree. I think there were a number of people who, like, are long-term Magic players who, like, were expecting this client to eventually support Premier play or any play on non-rotating, non-standard formats, and it feels like we've been lied to. I think Serpent's probably worse than playing either of the Hydras in the Simic Food deck. Both Fighty Hydra and the Krasis. I would expect them to want to make more money from it. So here's the thing, Vernash. Someone somewhere did some kind of value calculation, and they've determined that they stand to make more money by only supporting standard. People who keep making the assumption that, like, they're making this decision because they don't want to make money, it's the opposite of that. They're making this decision because they think it's ideal and most profitable for them to keep making this decision to force people into standard. I think Esper Control could be good with the field ban, definitely. I think traditional do-nothing control decks are the type of deck we're going to see pop up now. Didn't they say Historic/Brawl changes weren't coming till November? Yeah, and when Brawl gets released, you get to play Brawl 1 day per week. That's the change you've been waiting on for forever. Esper stacks with Dune Foretold and Manse is great. I don't believe you. That deck was really bad when we played it. They make all of the money on Arena. All of the money anyone puts into Arena, Wizards of the Coast makes. So no, it doesn't make sense. Wizards, and I feel like I shouldn't say this because I'm telling people to like stop watching me or like stop playing the game that I'm like trying to promote. But here's the answer, chat. The only power you have as a consumer is to speak with your wallet. And Wizards is banking on, by telling you can't play Brawl and you can't play Historic, they're telling you that they're banking on you playing Standard instead. So if you play Standard, even though you want to play something else, you're doing what they're expecting you to do. The only power you have as a consumer is to stop giving them money and stop giving them your time. And I feel like I shouldn't say that because like that's going to cause people who do that to disengage with what I do and cost me money probably, but it's the truth, right? Like that's the honest answer. The answer is go play Mythgard, go play Hearthstone, go play the Riot card game, go play Minecraft, go do something else with your time until they realize that, like, these decisions aren't profitable. Until the person in the suit with the clipboard who's just looking at numbers goes, oh, this isn't working how we wanted it to work. Yeah, Blizzard and Riot are awful, but let's be honest. The Riot card game could be the thing that kicks Wizards in the pants to stop, like, having bad software and bad decisions, right? Yeah, maybe float mana. Things that are aggressively slanted are probably good places to start. Yeah, and that's the problem, Baby Gambles, is like when Standard becomes tedious, without another format, we don't have an alternative. So like not having a real alternative makes this application worse. It means when you're bored with Standard, you just like go do something else instead of playing Magic. For people that aren't familiar with Riot, Riot has a history of workplace sexual harassment to the point where it caused their employees to do a walkout at one point. They're also wholly owned by a company that's basically the Chinese government. So like they proactively told their esports players not to have opinions after the Blizzard thing happened. So like from a social standpoint, they're not a good company. Thanks, Raiden. I can't tell if they're timing out or if they're actually here or not. That's actually a really interesting metric, Android. I saw that the fandom people finally stopped doing Magic stuff. I was wondering how long that was going to last. They just had to be hemorrhaging money week after week on those tournaments. How am I feeling today? My mouth is a little bit sore because last night was the day I had to put in a new set of Invisalign trays, so my teeth are currently being pushed in new directions, but that'll pass after a day or two. Otherwise quite excellent. Life is swell. I think they're timing out. Is this the third one? Maybe. All right, well, we're down a game and probably behind here, but our opponent got Comcasted or arena'd out of the game. Moving bones is metal. In a related statement, do anything to prepare your throat or mouth for hours of talking, but training new folks at work and it gets taxing. You need to speak from your diaphragm. So during high school and undergrad, I did a lot of community and casual theater stuff. And one of the things they teach you when projecting your voice to a room that has 400 people in it without a microphone is you project from your center as opposed to speaking from your throat. You'll never catch me, I'm the Gingerbread Man! Thanks for the 7 months, Flame Emancipator. I appreciate that, welcome. I'm planning on doing the tournament later this week. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the tournament's a free roll, right? Like, I don't get to cash in the invite again for later. So I'm definitely playing on Saturday. As always, my schedule is current on my website. I know I'm a broken record saying that today, but the schedule is up on my website. Includes that day. These are my gargoyles. It's another flash deck. Oh, these constructed events are so miserable. I really hope I finish in the top 1,200 of the ladder this month, so that way I can play the ladder all next month, because, like, playing against mono flash decks in these events is so annoying. There's way less of this on the Mythic ladder, because this deck's not very good, so people don't play it there. Yeah, I feel like this deck just isn't doing anything inherently powerful. Like, Steel Overseer is like the only kind of close to powerful thing we're doing, and that doesn't seem good enough most of the time. When's the owl suit coming back? I don't know about that. I probably should figure out a costume for this year. I am gonna register for Noxious Grasp for the event this weekend. I don't know what the other 71 cards are, but probably for Noxious Grasp. So, Stonecoil Serpent protection from multicolor does not stop it from being counterspelled. It does stop it from taking damage or being blocked by it. The Washi clipboard men are scary, go as one of them. Like, I just don't have removal, right? So I can just, like, never beat this Night Pack Alpha. Like, this making a 3/3 every turn is just, like, better than every card in my deck. Maybe I'm supposed to bring in Stroke in this matchup. Doesn't seem unreasonable. Like, all their best cards get countered by Stroke, right? Let's do that. The Black-Green Adventure deck tends to have a very bad food matchup. That's one of the reasons why it didn't have a good weekend, from my understanding. A Sand Sick, thing, and to hold the Disdainful Stroke up. So far we're 1-1 in this event, but our first win was because my opponent disconnected, you know. Quality release ready software. This deck 5-0'd an incredibly competitive Magic Online Constructed League. Thank you very much. Do you think we'll have a good matchup versus food? I have no idea. I don't think the food deck is attackable like other decks in this format were attackable. I think the food deck is much harder to have counterplay against than decks like Field of the Dead. Field of the Dead had very clear ways to exploit its position in the metagame, and the food deck doesn't feel like that exists. It's just a collection of good cards that also has a nut draw. Yeah, I agree. I think, like I said yesterday, so the very first part of my thing yesterday was talking about the ban update. I think banning just Field of the Dead was worse than banning nothing. In my opinion, they should have banned nothing, or they should have banned more than Field. All of the cards that are theoretically good against the food deck get countered by Veil of Summer or get stopped by Oko. And this game was a good example, right? Like I said, the only inherently powerful thing this deck is really doing is Steel Overseer. Which, honestly, that probably means instead of splashing blue, this deck should just splash Once Upon a Time, right? They're probably should just be Once Upon a Time. Both of the next decks we're playing today are decks that are literally just splashing for Once Upon a Time. One's a red-black splash for once, and one's mono-black splash for once. Hey, Shadow Monarch, thanks for the 9 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Hope you're having an excellent Tuesday wherever you are. Thanks for keeping me around. Castle's pretty good here. For the record, I just want to be very clear that I don't think Wizards should have banned Oko. I think Oko is a really sweet card that creates a lot of neat play patterns. I just think that card being backed up by Nissa or put into play on turn 2 sucks. So they should have banned Nissa, or they should have banned 1-mana accelerants. If I was allowed to make the decision, I would have banned more. It's miserable to play against. Miserable to play against is super subjective, and here's a blazing hot take. The decks that Field of the Dead made unplayable are far more miserable than Field of the Dead could ever dream of being. Like, sure, the Field of the Dead deck sucked, but have you ever been Dance of the Macabre out of the Esper deck 3 or 4 times? Like, that's really awful. It's not a good scene. Esper control from the last couple of seasons is just like infinitely more miserable than anything that Field deck could do. Yeah, at least the Field deck kills you quickly. I completely agree with Lee. Completely agree with this tweet from Li Shitian. Based on observations I have, Nissa snowballs the most in the Oko mirror. If we can't ban Oko, ban Nissa. London, Mulligan, and Once Upon a Time make all games about a nut draw. He dislikes it. I agree with this assessment. And Field is actually a fine deck that has a reasonable fail rate. I agree with that completely. I also think there's a lot of good tools in this format to allow you to attack those strategies very directly. Thanks for the 29 months, Nemesis. Feel pretty dead here. Conclave Tribunal? Well, I mean, if that resolves next turn, maybe we have a shot until they play their second Nightpack Ambusher here. Yeah, I agree, Oratog. I also think people didn't have a lot of time to find new decks to play at the Mythic Championship because the deck deadline was so early. Yeah, the Field of the Dead is a deck that tends to beat up a lot of the types of bad decks people like to play. Why not swing for one? Because I didn't. Yeah, I'm gonna be done with this one. This deck was pretty mediocre. Just this is like a lot of brews tend to look like this. And then this is actually a mistake I think a lot of people are gonna make with this new format as well. Is this deck is just a collection of just like individually very weak cards, and the synergy payoffs that this deck has aren't really worthwhile to make up for the games where it's just like its cards all suck basically, right? Like so many of these cards are just not constructed playable, and you're like really leaning on Steel Overseer and all that glitters to like pull you through. And these cards just have too many axes of interaction in this format to make them good enough to like make up for all the bad cards that you have to register. Whenever I get matched against field, I don't sigh like it's over, and it feels very winnable. When someone turns to Oko, I feel bad. Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right, what are we doing? So these next two decks that we're going to play today are two decks that I'm considering for the Mythic Championship Qualifier event this weekend. We're going to start with this Once Upon a Cat here, which is Red Black Cat, Splash Once Upon a Time. And then we've got some Once Upon Arya here, which is Mono Black Splash Once Upon a Time. Because this card is busted. It's very, very good. Before I do that, I'm going to take a quick ad break and run to the restroom. So we'll be right back, and we're going to be playing both of these. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Well, I guess I need to restart this client too because, you know, laggy mess. No, I can't play Historic. They don't have, a best of 3 queue doesn't exist. The reason why I don't like how they're handling Historic is because I can't fucking play it. That's the reason why I don't like how they're handling Historic. How do you expect me to play it when they don't give us a queue to play it in? That's wholly the issue. Araria has a pretty bad what? English? No, unranked best of 3 does not support Historic. Only unranked best of 1 does. I guess I need to export these decks. What do you think will be good removal for white in Pioneer? Deputy of Detention if you're also in blue. Declaration in stone is probably going to be a pretty premium removal spell. I meant to say bad game 1 against Jeskai. Sure. Sure, you can't be good. You can't be good against everything. That's how Magic works. I think these decks are both bad against decks full of Deafening Clarions. That's just how Magic works. I think there's lots of different answers you could have Mean Bean, but like me speculating on them doesn't really accomplish anything because Wizards is going to do what they want to do.